Welcome everyone. Today we're going to discuss the ultimate technology trends for logistics companies and how companies could improve their business model by adapting to new changes to ensure success in 2024. I'm Maria, as Sworkz marketing manager. I'll be working on creating effective marketing strategies for B2B companies. And for the ones that don't know about Sworkz, we're a nearshoring and staffing company, and we specialize in connecting logistics companies with high-performing multilingual talent. I'm here with Hannah, BitFreighter Partnership Manager. Hannah, can you tell us a little bit more about your experience?
Sure. Thank you for having me, Maria. Really appreciate it. I'm Hannah Feldhacker. I am the Partnership Manager here at BitFreighter. My experience is completely in brokerage, 3PL. So I had spent the last 6 years in brokerage, started as an intern, actually, doing data analytics and data entry for LTL loads, getting paid $13 an hour, and made my way to start brokering. Then I went into corporate training, and then into some strategy for a different brokerage, where I had the opportunity to wear a lot of different hats, learn all aspects of the business, and that kind of brought me over to the software side of things at BitFreighter here in May. And then here at BitFreighter, I still do wear a lot of hats. So I get the opportunity to do some customer success, event planning, strategy when I can, and I get to oversee the partnerships as well. So have learned a lot in my short career here, but excited to kind of dive deeper with you.
Well, I have to agree with you wearing many hats. I think that's the best thing of starting something from scratch. So I'm very familiar with that, and it's just the best.
When you do a startup, when you work in a startup like that, that's kind of everyone has to work together and do what they can. So
roll up your sleeves and just get the job done. I love that. Okay, so right now we're closing 2023, a year where we discovered that technology is taking even more this stage when it comes to optimizing logistics business models. So we're seeing the transformation from traditional to technological. But understanding technology can be a bit of a challenge for many of us. Now we are talking about AI, robotics, machine learning algorithms, data analytics, and more. So let's dive into these new trends for logistics companies. Hannah, what is happening with tech in this industry?
I think it has become more saturated than it ever has, which is great. The more in the future that we get, the more that we're going to see those tech solutions come about. 2 weeks ago, I was at the FreightWaves Future of Freight Festival, where it has these tech solutions. That's what the whole conference is for. And there were things I had never even heard of, which was amazing. I got to learn so much. Looking at the FreightWaves top 25 list, there are names that I'm not familiar with on that one. So I think that it's just become this growing phenomenon of making sure that we can make the transportation industry as a whole, which is, massive, almost 10% of our economy, right? Where we can make sure that we're automating that process and we are doing it as efficient as possible through technology. I think 5 years ago, tech companies were kind of like pushing the lever to get people to invest in technology and say, hey, this is important. And there was a whole lot of pushback for a long time. And there still is pushback, right? But that is becoming less and less where companies are fully understanding what it is that the importance of these tech companies. So while it's saturated, I think that those companies have come in and disrupted other companies who have dominated the industry for a really long time. Whether that be what we do here at BitFreighter, in EDI and automation, or pricing, or tracking and tracing, or carrier vetting, or whatever it is. There's been companies who have done that forever and ever and have been kind of the industry standard. Now there's companies coming in and saying, hey, actually, there's a better way to do it. And that's been really cool to see. with that kind of disruptive nature. On top of that, I think everyone's been super collaborative. Coming from 3PL, it was almost very competitive, right? So talking to, and living in Chattanooga, there are 1,000,001 brokerages, right? So talking to a friend who works at a different brokerage, it was almost like, oh, that's the competition. And that was a big thing that kind of attracted me to the software side of things, is now I get to be a resource to these companies rather than a competitor. And, even our competitors on the software side, everyone is so collaborative. That's by far the coolest part about my job as a partnership manager, is getting to work with companies like Sworkz. And, my first 60 days, I kind of took over this a big user tournament, and you, Maria, and Sworkz, y'all jumped on it immediately and said, yes, we want to help you. And I just think that's really enlightening and really empowering to have a community, have your freight friends, as I call them, where you have those people who you can always rely on. If I was in a meeting last week where they were like, hey, I've got to, what is this company? How do they do it? And I just hopped on the phone and called them. And my developers were like, you're calling them? I'm like, yep, they're my friends. I can just call and answer. And that goes a long way. And doing webinars like this and getting the word out of your software solutions. So I think that's super cool. I know that y'all feel a lot of the same things. Kind of curious, how do y'all kind of keep on top of tech down in Columbia and teaching your people and training the technology, because there's a lot that comes out always. And I was just analyzing what you were saying about, we know that there's a standard, right? And there is no standard anymore, because we come these disruptive companies like BigFreighter and Sworkz. And one of our value propositions is actually being the adventurous in terms of tech. We're not the type that we put a wall. It's like, I'm not sure yet, or maybe I'm gonna try a little bit. No, we just go all in. That's the way you learn. You have to make mistakes, you have to implement stuff so you can know what is actually working. And I love that question. Thank you so much. So the first thing is that we are a native tech company. So whenever there is a new tech that we can implement in any area of the business, we try to implement it as fast as possible, because what we care is about optimizing our processes so we can deliver the best value for our customers. In terms of the talent, I think there are two key things for us. First is the soft skills of the candidates and the talent that we provide to our customers. So do they have the learning ability, more like the capacity of be always aware of your surroundings and be able to learn new things on a daily basis? And the second is the agility that they have to actually learn and implement it. So those are key two soft skills that we value a lot in the talent that we bring in for our customers. And the second point will be the logistics training that we give to them. It's a very tailored logistics training. So every candidate that comes on board, we analyze what are the key, maybe the strong points that they have, or maybe the challenges or things that there is opportunity that we can help them solve, and we can provide that tailored logistics training. Or even some of our clients, they have a new tech or an AI or a different TMS, and they can provide also that training if they want to. So we're very flexible in terms of what our customers would like to do, but we are very open in offering that the training and the learning service for them. Yeah. So when I was at my first brokerage, which was Trident Transport, I left there as their corporate trainer. So I totally get the importance of a good training program and making sure everyone's on the same page and having a level playing field when they come into the company. It almost worked out as having everyone start and having a training program like that, the camaraderie that comes with that, and you having a buddy in your training class, and you're able to learn those things, that goes a really long way.
It does. Okay, so for the brokers that are actually listening to us right now, I want to ask you, Hannah, how brokers can apply technology to the tech stack to maximize your revenue?
Yeah, I think that can be overwhelming at times. I think there's, like I said, it's a very saturated field. So there are a lot of tech solutions out there. take Bitfreighter and manage EDI. What's the first step to go find an EDI company? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I think kind of twofold to that. When you do apply those technologies and you're maximizing revenue, the main thing is you're not going to apply any new software solution without it, without ROI, right? You're not going to do anything unless it is going to, one, fix a problem, or two, save you money in the long run.
Right.
So that's the first thing you kind of have to determine. How they can utilize that is really to become a competitive advantage. So, you can go to your shippers or your customers and say, hi, Mr. Shipper, I'm utilizing this software to help you move your freight successfully, have no service failures, do it in the safest, most affordable way possible. And that's the big thing. But like I said, it can be overwhelming to find the right tech solution. I think there are a ton of different resources out there. When I was at my last company, I had the opportunity to, have the position of demoing softwares and asking those questions and determining which one was the best for us, because it can get expensive and it can get scary, and it can, what dotted line am I signing at, and how much money do I owe you and when, so
and time too.
Yeah, it can become a lot. I think FreightWaves is a great solution out there. They do a ton of great articles, different, making sure you utilize different conferences. TIA, Capital Ideas, in the spring is by far one of the best ones that you can go to actually learn what they do, who they are, what the options are, compare and contrast, pros, con list, all of that. Freightvana has a really good list of Freight Tech Today, where he goes on there and kind of, like I said, compares the different solutions with each other. Consulting firms like Metaphora and things like that, where they can come in and help you determine what the best one is for your company. Gartner Solutions, the where you can go and read the different reviews based on your industry. I think that's more and more important, especially with companies utilizing like SEO. And honestly, this industry lives on LinkedIn so much. Keeping your ear to the ground on LinkedIn really helps you determine what's out there. You can get really good referrals and customer testimonials doing that. There's a ton of different kind of resources out there to find the right one for you, so that you can then in turn implement that into your company and maximize revenue.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, it can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
So, in the sake of that, how is the process for brokerages to define that starting point, and maybe finding out how the new tech or what new tech they need to actually move the needle, and how to implement it so they can hit that revenue?
Sure. I think the first thing you need to do when you're trying to figure out what technology to onboard within your brokerage is determine what issues that you have at your brokerage. Determine the headache areas, right? If this is going to fix a problem, and if that problem will then in turn, be profitable when you fix it. I think you need to ask a ton of questions. I think you need to never just demo one product. You need to demo 2 or 3 of the leading solutions in that field. So like I said, for EDI or for pricing or for tracking and tracing, or for offshoring, whatever it is, you need to ensure that the solution that you're picking is the best one for you. And you can have an educated conversation with all of those companies. I would never pick a company just because they're the cheapest. I think that goes a long way. Brokers get that. You're sometimes you got to pick the cheapest truck, but if it's a serious load and it's an important load, maybe you don't pick the cheapest truck. Maybe you pick the truck with the better with the better carrier scores, and you know that we'll get there on time and not have service failure. Same thing with demoing, demoing your freight tech options. It doesn't have to be the cheapest, but you need to make sure that it is going to be the best for you and your book of business.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you're saying, because I think the key word here is called also the consultancy kind of thing, like is analyzing what you are and what you need, and check all of the options that you have in the market. Make sure to find all of the options, and then go for the one that just makes sense to you. So it's not about, and I love how you're mentioning, because you could be just demo Bitfreight, just check if this is actually the best option for you. And I think it's the same thing for us. It's like, are we matching with your values? We don't try to work with everyone, and maybe everyone is like the same. We don't want to work with everyone or use all of kind of services. It's the right fit. So we make sure that everything is not only tailored to our clients' need, but also it makes sense for them. Is what is the value we bring just on board a lot of clients for a Bitfreight or S-Workz, and at the end they're not going to be happy, and after a month they're going to say this is the worst service, this is the worst EDI I've used, but it's actually a bad product or a bad service, it's that it was not a right fit. So that's very important, to not only have it clear on your side what you want, but also you have the right partner in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that what you said about values, that goes a long way. I think I learned that later in my career, how important, aligning values with the people that you're working with and the companies that you're working with are. For us, that's communication, and that's being a way to scale your business with you. We're designed to, when Brad started Bitfreighter, he wanted it to be something that, hey, maybe you onboard one trading partner, maybe you onboard two trading partners, but because we take an unlimited approach, it is designed to scale with you, where it doesn't have to be a scary thing, and it doesn't have to be thousands of dollars a month. It can be something that's very affordable, and then we can grow as you
maintain the quality.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing that I want to talk about with implementation is issues with it, right? Like I said kind of earlier, 5 years ago, people were like, no, I don't need tech. I can just pick up the phone and call a truck, or I can just build the load myself, or, whatever. When I was back in my training position, I would help with implementation, and you get a lot of pushback there. You get whether that from the operators who are actually moving freight, or the stakeholders. Hey, we don't need that. We've got operators to do those types of things. And well, what are my guys going to do if the load builds itself? And you get a lot of feedback from that, and it's we hear that all the time, and it's almost funny. It's like, no, you can use them for other things now, because and you don't need to pay them for those things, because this software is alleviating that problem for you. So I think that is something that, again, is becoming less and less as the years go on, and we're able to we're able to get a little bit more adoption and more collaborativeness between brokerages and software.
Yeah, definitely. The idea is to be the early adopters, but sometimes you're not just ready. The team inside of the company are not ready, so you have to make sure to train them or prepare them for the switch, instead of doing just like, right now we're doing this, and on the second day, boom, we change everything. So people also need some time to adjust.
Yeah, like theory. You've done something for so long a certain way and it's worked, but there is a better way to do it. That's exactly right.
Perfect. All right, so talking about AI, can you give me an example of using AI in our industry?
Yeah, I think AI has been largely adopted in the last few years. I think it was something scary for a long time, right? I think that there was a lot of, again, pushback because it's new and scary, and people, there aren't a lot of early adopters to that type of thing. But the companies that are utilizing AI are the companies that are going to be successful in the future as it continues to develop. For Bitfreighter specifically, we developed an internal AI into our internal messaging. His name's Bitbot. He's very cute.
I bet.
Yeah, and he helps us find error in coding or in any issues. If there's a problem that comes up, he helps us solve what that issue is. That has been very instrumental to our development team here at Bitfreighter to make sure that things work and that it can alleviate the very manual, nitty-gritty process of developing software. We use it often for marketing. That is here. That's something that's huge. I was working on last week. I was on a call with my team, and we were trying to come up with like fun little sponsorship idea names. We're like, well, let's just pull up ChatGPT and plug it in, and we were cracking up. Just talking to ChatGPT for like 20 minutes, just coming up with some goofy ideas. So I think that. And then past that, like not just at Bitfreighter, I think it can help you in the future with connecting to your customers, changing relationships with customers. I think there's quoting potential there. Making your products compatible with AI is super important. I could see AI taking over implementations in the future. I want an integration between this company and this company, or this API and this API, and having AI do that.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I don't think that exists now, but those things, all of those very manual processes that take a long time. I can see AI just learning and adopting, and the more we can utilize that, the better.
Right. It just helps in terms of streamlining processes, so we can focus in areas that matter on other tasks.
Yeah.
Definitely.
How are y'all with marketing? How are y'all kind of utilizing AI? I'm always.
Oh yeah. I cannot live with my AI. I'm an early adopter in terms of technology. So whenever I see a new tool, I just make sure to swing it back to the team. And now we have like a culture when I get these messages from them from Instagram, new AI for design, new AI for copyright, and like they're super into it, that they're even sharing it with them with the whole team. 100% that we use ChatGPT, but if I'm honest, there's it's like kind of like sometimes repeat the same words. So now I know when it's ChatGPT writing it. So instead of using like it just becomes when you see unlock, let's dive in, unleash, you already know what is happening right there, so there are other tools that I've been adding up, like Jasper AI, which is great also for create workflows or sales sequences. It's pretty amazing. There's also another one called Claude.ai, which is premium, but it's also free, and I think it's more natural in the way that he just gives like the responses. So it's something that we have all the time. We have also captions, like the phone app, so app to subtitles, so you don't need a member of your team doing the checking of the grammar and everything. It's automated. It's AI, also moving the eyes to the camera. Super cheap and super useful, and it's just what I said to you, streamline processes.
Sworkz has one of the best marketing departments in this industry, and I can firmly say that this kind of thing is phenomenal. So I was actually just kind of curious myself on that you guys utilize.
I can give you more tips. I'll make sure to send
we
you
can talk later.
Amazing. Hannah, what do you see as the most exciting new technologies on the horizon for the logistics industry in 2024? Like, are there any that have the potential to truly transform or disrupt the industry?
No, I'm sure. I think in any aspect of the industry, there are companies coming in here, like we've kind of talked about, disrupting and really making a difference. I think to answer that question, you kind of have to look at what are the headaches in the industry. Right now, we're in a really soft market, right? So there are, how can we help with like rating and making sure that we're being profitable and we're not overpaying trucks. There's companies like Green Screens that are using AI to learn those accurate market rates to do that. I think that double brokering has been more of a problem in the past year or two than ever before. And then there's companies like Highway coming in and providing a solution and solving those things. I think tracking and tracing will continue to get better through technology, through satellite and geofencing. And I honestly, we were talking about this earlier, like companies like TextLocate almost take such a simple approach to it in a tracking and tracing world that has been so complicated, where they can just send a text. And I think there's something to be said about the simplicity of that technology as well, because it actually works. And, drivers at the end of the day have flip phones sometimes, or, aren't going to download apps or aren't going to do. So if they can just get a text and click a button, then that, there's something to be said about the simplicity and how that actually works. But pair that with the geofencing and the satellites and AI and all of that, I think there's going to be some really cool solutions from all of those tracking and tracing companies in the next few years, where it's going to be a whole lot more accurate. And the ELD companies too, same and getting that information and relying less on the driver themselves to relay that information over.
I think the one that most catch my eye is satellite tracking and geofencing. I mean, like, we have the roads are big, there are a lot of places that you can lose signal. The network is not good enough, and just going for satellite tracking and geofencing and make it accessible, make it a cheap and maybe an affordable option, I think definitely something that for me, Maria, would be something very, very disruptive. Maybe someone here listening know a company that is already doing this, please just write the name. It'll be great to check more about it.
So a lot of those tracking and tracing companies that are out there right now are utilizing those geofencing. So, say there's a shipper on this block, it'll have that geofence around that area, and then you'll automatically get a notification if that truck enters into that area, rather than you having to call the driver, hey, are you there? The driver having to call you, hey, I made it on site. Oh, the shipper's not there. The shipper says you're not there. Oh, I'm here, and trying to prove it and doing that back and forth. So most of the companies are utilizing that right now. But I do think that through AI and satellites, I think we're going to be able to make that process a little bit more seamless. Another thing I want to see that I think can really transform the industry is finding ways to get your data back to your customers and your shippers. Right now, I feel like there's a lot of steps that go into that. It goes through your TMS or a third party or a company like Bitfreighter to get information back to your shipper. If there is something that was just very simply, this is how much we paid, this is when it was, and just real-time data over to them, and just that simplicity there. I think that there's a lot of too many steps right now, and I think it can get the information can get really skewed. So having some real-time accurate data back to your shippers is something that I can see on their horizons as well.
All right, just talking about that, in terms of data, how can logistics companies leverage data analytics and predictive modeling in 2024 to optimize routing, freight matching, and demand forecasting to increase their margins?
Sure. I think analytics are huge, and I think it's always an afterthought. It's not hey, let's be proactive and gather as many analytics. Usually there's kind of that solutions or innovation kind of employee at a brokerage. But the more visibility to that for the whole organization, the better. To talk about Bitfreighter for a second, Bitfreighter is kind of it started as that managed EDI company. And then we really went into the automated quoting side through our product, LiveQuote. And within LiveQuote, you can automatically quote via API with real-time rating or spot-board. I think that real-time rating phenomenon, dynamic pricing. You hear kind of a lot of hit words around that kind of topic.
Yeah.
I think it is something that not everyone has a full grasp on what it is. I didn't have a full understanding of what real-time rating was before coming to Bitfreighter in my time in brokerage. And I think that becoming that preferred partnership with a shipper. So real-time rating, let me take it back a little bit. Real-time rating is a preferred partner from a brokerage and a shipper. So, you have access to a spot board, but then a shipper says, hey, I really like these 5 brokerages. I want them to be real-time rating compliant. And it's kind of a get a quote now type deal. So becoming a preferred carrier on that list is going to be key in the future. I can see all of the big shippers in the next 5 years or next few years really leaning towards this. In order to be compliant with it, you have to have a tech software like Bitfreighter. And within live quote, you go in and a quote comes in, it'll hit our markup tool, and you have to kind of set up a bidding strategy for that day, for certain lanes, certain markets, what to quote, what not to quote. The more analytics that you have, you're able to make that bidding strategy better. So if you're seeing, hey, my ROI is really not in the state of Florida right now, you can just it might not be worth your time to see any of your trucks down that way. So the more analytics, the more educated you can have on conversations with your carriers, on conversations with your operators who's quoting these things, and conversations with the shippers. I think there's that idea of a scorecard, having a good understanding of how your analytics that you're getting with your brokerage can affect that scorecard, turning it around and having educated conversations with your shippers before they even tell you how you're doing, how you're doing.
I agree with you. And data tracking is very important to make the accurate decisions. So it goes more or beyond that, just measuring the tools that we have, or you're talking about the shippers, maybe talking about the data regarding the carriers. But in terms of talent, we also value a lot the analytics of it. So we have like a structure too that we can offer to our clients. It's like, okay, if you want us to be a little more hands-on and keep track of the KPIs, even from people that are working for them, we can do that. So you can actually identify their strong points are also the areas of opportunity, and we can make leverage of the potential that they have by giving them the right training and the right tools, right? So definitely it's not only that data, it's not only about how many visitors you have on the website or how many loads I have right now. It's also about how you measure people to help them be better and be more productive and to actually grow. So that's very, very, very insightful, Hannah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think that I think that having a good understanding of those analytics, like you were saying, and you can get a good understanding of opportunity, what opportunity you had, what opportunity you missed, and then you can go into your next month with really good strategy on what to do with that shipper and leverage and maximize how much business you're doing with them.
Great. Okay, so we are coming close to the end of this live session, but before we close, it's time to pass the microphone to the audience. If anyone has questions, we'll start reading and answering them now. So please write your questions in the comments.
Perfect.
Oh, I'm seeing Mia there. Super excited to see your face and learn more from you guys today. Okay, I have a question over here. It says, how Bitfreighter started.
What is that?
How Bitfreighter started.
How Bitfreighter started. Brad Perling is our CEO and co-founder. He helped build up 2 different brokerages. He was always kind of that guy who kind of took on the tech projects, right? What do we need this solution? Hey, Brad, go figure out how to do that. And when it came to EDI, the solution that was out there, he said, there's got to be a better way to do this. And came up with this idea, and COVID came around, and I think he got bored and decided to make it a reality. With our other co-founder, Brandon Joyce, he's our CTO, and they built Bitfreighter. They wanted to, with the idea of giving EDI having EDI with a truly unlimited approach. And so there are we don't price by transaction like a lot of our competitors do, and we're the only EDI company that's specifically for freight. So I think there was just kind of a gap in the industry that people, everyone here at Bitfreighter, any customer-facing employee has sat in that brokerage chair, has been in the industry, knows exactly what these pain points are. So I think he wanted to build something that could actually help people and take, EDI has been such a headache historically in the past, and it's just this beast that doesn't work. And there was a better way to do it. So he did it. Yeah. And it's grown. I think when I came on board, we had, I think this time last year, we probably had, 30, 40 customers, and now we're well over 100. Since I've started in May, we've got five more employees after me. We're constantly growing. So it's been really good for us. It's proven that there was that gap in the industry, and we were able to fill it.
Yeah, same happens here with the growth that we've been seeing lately. It's insane, and I think that you hit the point is when you know and you're sure you find a gap in the industry or something that the solutions that are out there and are actually doing for their customers. That's when you know if you had the right hypothesis to start it, and it's just a validation of what you believe on, that you are sure that you are adding value and it's actually something that the customers were looking for. I have another question here. What advice would you give to industry leaders to help their companies stay ahead of the technology curve and be early adopters? How can they foster an innovative culture?
Yeah, I think educating yourself on the different solutions that are out there, and having a really good base knowledge of the tech solutions, as well as keeping in an open mind. Like I said, there's companies like us who come in and disrupt that culture, and not being afraid to invest in a small company and say, I believe in what you guys are doing, and kind of becoming partners with them to help that. And like I said, keeping an open mind, asking the right questions, developing really good relationships in the space so that you have great friends that you can rely on and say, hey, have you heard anything about this company? When I was coming to Bitfreighter, I did the same thing. I called around and said, hey, tell me, what do we know about Bitfreighter? Can someone help me out here? And getting advice and leaning on others. I think that's going to be the best way to become an early adopter into something that you really believe in.
Yeah, I think that's key. I think we can relate to the experience that we have, because of course you have so much background in the logistics industry, but maybe the tech part, it wasn't that super pro on it. And it happened the same thing to me. So I believe I'm really good with marketing, especially with B2B. When it comes to nearshoring and the logistics industry, I had no idea. So I had to come here and make the same questions to understand, and then we can communicate it better. And I think one of the key things to do to keep fostering like an innovative culture is to lead by example. So if the people see that you're always looking to learn, if you're sharing in articles, if you, hey, this is a new technology that I've seen, it's gonna foster even more that culture of sharing knowledge and seeing that, wow, this person is moving fast, is already adopting this technology, because there's also a community inside of the companies. So if you show that by example and you make sure you share that knowledge, definitely you're gonna have a culture that fosters innovation.
No, you're exactly right. Leading by example, and I think in the world, not just in this industry, and just being people, like, right, always wanting to learn more. Always wanting to be open to new ideas, continued education. I always, I joke with my boyfriend all the time. I'm like, what did you learn today? That's a continuous goal for me, is just to never stop wanting to understand more.
We have one, and I think it's gonna be the last one. I really like this one. I'll leave it to you. As logistics companies implement new technologies like AI, automation, and digital platforms in 2024, what strategies do you recommend for getting teams trained and comfortable using these tools? We're talking about implementation, right?
Yeah, that's a good question, because there are people who have that pushback, but I also think there are people who are really excited about new technologies. Things that worked for me when I was implementing things that maybe some brokers were like, I don't need this, was finding a way to gamify it, make it competitive. Brokers, a lot of brokers by nature are just competitive, right? So finding a way to do sales competitions, or whatever that solution is, to gamify it and really get some buy-in from your employees.
All right, I agree with that. And well, that's it. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you want to know more about the logistics trends for 2024, make sure to download our ebook, The Logistics Revolution Trends Shaping 2024. We'll be leaving here the link to download. And if you want more information about Sworkz or Bitfreighter, check out our website, our website, sworkzgroup.com, or follow us on LinkedIn. You can find us as Sworkz, or shoot me a message. Hannah, do you want to?
Yeah, we're we're on LinkedIn, obviously. You can find me on there, bitfreighter.com. Where all of our Calendly is on there. So if you want to set up a call and just learn more about kind of what we do here at Bitfreighter, I'm always happy to just kind of explain it. I can talk about Bitfreighter all day. So.
All right, so that's it. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you so much, Maria.